Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. So I decided to do the ketogenic diet for a week, and I had some pretty good results. Just to tell you ahead of time so you can kind of know, I lost 13 pounds in a week. Now, I am pretty overweight, really overweight, and I'll explain that in a little bit. 13 pounds in a week is nothing to shy away from. That's pretty impressive in 1 week, just from a diet. I did not do anything else. Now, I do think that there were some reasons why I lost so much weight in that amount of time, and things that I don't necessarily think that most people will experience. But I do think that this diet is really impressive and has done a lot of great things for a lot of people. So let's just go ahead and get started with what the ketogenic diet is. So the ketogenic diet is a high fat, medium protein, and then really low carbs. Basically, they want you to stay under 50 carbs, and that's regular, full carbs. They usually say 20, when you're looking it up, it usually says 25 carbs. What that number is, the 25 carbs, is actually the net carbs. They want you to eat 25 net carbs. Now, as your body is getting low carbs, your body is now in starvation mode, and it doesn't know what to do with it. So what ends up happening is there's a little bit of a delay, and usually there's what's called the keto flu. I experienced the keto flu for sure, and I'll explain that. But the keto flu is when you're not feeling so well, and it's because your body doesn't know what to do. So it's just freaking out, and it's oh, you need to eat some carbs, you need to eat some carbs. So your body is freaking out during this time. But once you get over it, I have to say, once I got over the keto flu, I felt a lot better. But it was Christmas time, and, I can't say no to some cookies. So I lost my diet because of some cookies. But, who can blame me? But I'm planning on doing another week 1 and doing it over again and trying to keep up with it, because I do think that I had great results. And once I got over that keto flu, I felt really, really good. So my recommendation is, before you start, take about a week beforehand and really understand the ketogenic diet, because it is sort of confusing. It's easy in the sense that you're just counting carbs, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to figure out what foods actually have carbs and what don't. I didn't realize until later that things like apples and things like, everything really has a certain amount of carbs, and it's kind of hard. Something I did not realize until after the first day was there is a difference between net carbs and total carbs. Total carbs are just what it says on the package. It'll just say amount of carbs, and it'll say 9 or something like that. Well, that's total carbs. Net carbs is actually the total carbs minus the dietary fiber, and that would be your net carbs. So let's say that you have 9 total carbs, and then you have 7 dietary fiber. That means that your total net carb is going to be 2 grams. So basically, that's a lot lower. So when you're looking at it, when you're looking online and stuff, it'll tell you that you're supposed to stick about 25 net carbs, or 50 and below, so about 45 total carbs. I did it 2 different ways. So the first day, I decided I was going to just do net carbs. Now, I didn't realize at the time that net carbs and total carbs were different. So I went about this 2 or 3 different ways. For my first few days, I went with just total carbs, and I would count to about 40 to 45 total carbs, so that I make sure that I was under my 50 mark. I found it pretty easy that way, because all you had to do was just go in the package and look at it, and, it just said it on there. Now, when I decided to switch and go to just net carbs, I noticed a little bit of a difference, because I was looking at what I was eating and noticing how much fiber was going into me, as well as the carbs. So before, the numbers would add up really fast, because it would be okay, well, this has 9 carbs in it, and it would just add up super fast. When I was looking more at the dietary fiber, the numbers would add up a lot slower. So it was helpful, because counting it wasn't as hard, and I noticed that getting to that 25 mark made it a lot different. Now, either way is fine, however you want to go about it. I just found that it was more satisfying for myself to just count the net carbs. That's a personal preference. I recommend counting both ways. I don't recommend counting everything, at least in the first little bit, because I stopped counting everything, like, you know, the calories, the carbs, the fiber, the protein, the fat, everything combined. It just became too much for me. So I don't recommend it at your very beginning. I just say count the carbs and just make sure that you're eating quite a bit. Make sure that you're full, and you shouldn't have a problem. Now, like I said, I'll be doing another video that will tell you everything you need to know about the keto diet in your first week and some sample recipes that you should use. But let's go ahead and get started on what my results were. So I started on December 13th. That was the day I decided to take the plunge. I don't know why I decided to do it during Christmas time, but I was like, let me just go ahead. Big mistake, because there was a million temptations around me and I could not have any of them, which is why I'm not currently on the diet, because, you know, I couldn't get through the first week because of cookies. But I plan on going back on it because it was a great result. So my starting weight was 240 pounds. Yeah. My starting weight was 240 pounds. I'm not proud of it, but it is what it is. I've had 2 kids, and I'm just overweight. And I think a lot of us experience this, and it happens. It's fine. I started that morning going, I'm going to go balls to the wall with this, and I'm going to do this, fast. I don't recommend doing that. I recommend, if you're going to do it, slowly cut down on your carbs. Because everything was so bad after that because I just cut it off. So the night before, I ate like a Baconator or something like that because I have no sort of self-control, and for whatever reason I decided a Baconator was a great idea for the day before, which, by the way, you could eat a Baconator without the bread, but I didn't. Whatever. So I decided to take the plunge on December 13th. Weighed myself in the morning. I weighed 240 pounds. Not proud of the number, but that's the number I started with. I started off my morning going, I'm going to start this morning off great. I did what they recommended with the bulletproof coffee at like 7:30 in the morning. Everyone says that bulletproof coffee is delicious, and I don't know if I've made it wrong, but oh my gosh, no. I'm not a huge coffee drinker in the first place, so that's probably why I didn't enjoy it so much, but oh my gosh, was it bad. I had to chug it. Now, I will say that it gave me a lot of energy, and I got a lot of stuff done. So for brunch, I ate a sausage, spinach, egg, cheese. It was a cheddar cheese, mushroom, and bell pepper scramble. And then on the side, I had an avocado, half an avocado. Let me just tell you, that was absolutely delicious. And that is a breakfast I will continue to make afterwards because it was so good. And it wasn't like it was small. Like, it was a big amount of breakfast. And I even gave some to my kids, and they loved it too. Of course, I put a piece of bread on theirs just so that they had carbs on theirs, but because not everyone had to eat the same way I was. So for dinner that night, I decided I was going to make it was a mustard mushroom sauced pork chop with asparagus on the side. And I put a spinach salad with it too, just so that I felt like I was having a little bit more. By the end of the day, I did mention this before with the net carbs. By the end of the day, I was feeling kind of dizzy and I was just not feeling so good. And it was because I had been counting total carbs as net carbs. So I had only gotten up to like 22 total carbs throughout the day. Or it was like, I think it was like 12 net carbs throughout the day. And it just was not enough. So I had to go back through, and I was so just, my head was throbbing. I felt so sick. It was just awful. So I was like, okay, I need to eat something that's going to kind of fulfill that. So because I had so many left over and I was not hungry, I ended up eating like the summer sausage, because believe it or not, summer sausage does not have many carbs. But it had summer sausage, and then I had cheese, and then I cut up half an apple, and I had some peanut butter, and that's what my snack was. And I felt so good after I ate that. It was like I finally felt in balance. I slept really well that night. I had no problems. I felt pretty energized when I got into day 2. So for day 2, I ate that same breakfast again, and that was more of like a brunch again. And then I had been helping my family out when they were moving. And so I had not eaten all day because we had been helping them out. And then we went out to dinner for night. Now, my first outing experience on this diet was somewhat hard. Now, it was even worse because I was on day 2 and I was like, man, this is my favorite restaurant. I totally want to eat this stuff, but I can't. We went to a Japanese steakhouse, and of course they had steak and they had shrimp and they had chicken and they had rice. Everything that I noticed on the menu was not a problem except for the rice. So basically what I did when I was there is I ate everything I wanted to, just didn't eat the rice, because honestly most of the stuff that was on the menu was just fine. I tried to limit the amount of sauces I ate because I didn't know what was in the sauce. So I tried to limit the amount of that I was eating. But honestly, most of the stuff I was eating was protein anyways, and it was covered in butter. So honestly, it was not against the rules. So if you're looking for a good place to eat out for dinner, Japanese steakhouse is probably a good one. And that day I felt pretty fine throughout the day. I was slightly queasy, but it wasn't anything too bad. I felt pretty energized and I didn't really have much of a problem, if I'm being honest. Day 3 is where things started to get a little bit interesting. I was having the worst cravings of all times on day 3. I'd finally hit that I think I finally hit that point where my body was going into starvation mode, and it was like, holy crap, I gotta find some carbs. And it was like, you need to eat pasta. You need to eat rice. Everything with carbs in it, my body was like, you need to go eat that. And it was craving only that. So no matter what I ate that day, just nothing was doing it for me. The good news for day 3 was I realized that things like Diet Dr. Pepper were not against the rules. So I went out and I bought myself 2 cases of Diet Dr. Pepper because I was like, cool, I can drink Diet Dr. Pepper because that's sweet and that'll help the craving. And you know what? It did. I felt a lot better after I started drinking those Diet Dr. Peppers. I probably felt better for a few different reasons. One was probably because my sodium intake was too low. That is something that happens with this diet, is sometimes your sodium intake gets a little bit too low. And you start to feel queasy. I didn't really realize that until this day, and I started drinking the Diet Dr. Pepper, and I started to feel quite a bit better. I was just drinking water before this because I love water, and it's not been a problem. But I'm telling you, once I got that Diet Dr. Pepper, that was all I wanted to drink. I had to make sure that I would balance it because it was finally something sweet that I wanted. It had no carbs, no sugar, no nothing, so it helped out a lot. So throughout this day, I felt really dizzy, and after I figured out the Diet Dr. Pepper trick, I felt quite a bit better. But I also felt like I needed something else, so I was also drinking Propel. It helped. I felt a little bit better until the morning. So the next day is where all hell breaks loose. I had a slight fever the night before. Well, I wake up the next morning, and I wake up early. It's got to be like 4 in the morning. I'm feeling awful. And I'm like, okay, this has to be the keto flu. Now, looking back, I don't necessarily know if it was the keto flu or because it's flu season, so I like legit had the flu. But yeah, it was not fun. Day 4 is where all hell breaks loose. I wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and I am vomiting everywhere. Like, it is bad. And so I'm like curious, is this what keto flu is like? I don't think it was the keto flu. I think it was a combination of the real flu and like probably the keto flu. So yeah, I wake up, or after I throw up or whatever, I decide I'm going to go weigh myself to see if it's even doing anything. Well, at this point, I've only thrown up like once or twice at this point. So my weight was at 236. So I had lost about 4 pounds in, 4 days. So that's pretty good. But the fact that I just threw up does not counteract that. I think the reason I lost so much weight was because I had the flu. And of course, that's going to make you lose extra weight. So I think if I would have just done the diet regular and not had the flu so bad, I probably would have lost about 6 or 7 pounds. But because I had the flu, I lost 13 pounds in total. So day 4 and 5 were just kind of a bust. Let's just move on to day 6. So for day 6, I returned back to normal eating. I was able to eat the same sort of breakfast I had those past days, And then for dinner, we were eating BLTs, but instead of using bread on it, I was just using like lettuce wraps, like romaine lettuce. And then I put chicken in there too to add some more protein. That thing was delicious. It was so good. I recommend that definitely. So by the last day, I weighed myself in the morning and I started with my breakfast. And on this day, I weighed 227. So I had lost a total of 13 pounds in this time. I was pretty impressed, to say the least. I started to feel better. But the problem is because I had the flu and stuff, I just kind of felt drained. So you know how it is, like you get off of the flu and you still feel drained for a few days afterwards. That's kind of what it was like for me. So do I think this diet is worth trying? Yes, I absolutely do. Of course, you want to make sure that your doctor agrees that you should try something like this. But honestly, I think it's a great diet. If you've tried this diet, I would love to know, and I would love to know your results. I'll be doing other videos here shortly on other keto videos, like keto for beginners, another update, recipes, stuff like that. I will be doing more of that. And if you're excited for that, please subscribe and please like this video. I hope you guys have a great day, and thank you for watching. Bye!